President Hakainde Hichilema on Sunday did with immediate effect remove Judge Anistali, Judge Mungeni Mulenga and Judge Palani Mulonda from their offices as judges of the Constitutional Court of Zambia. Now this follows the recommendation in the report presented to him by the Judicial Complaints Commission. The removal of the said judges is in exercise of the powers vested in the President, that is in accordance with Article 143, Part B and C of the Constitution of Zambia. This is one of the biggest news stories happening in the country today. Thank you so much for making it and joining us on Monday's edition of Diamond Live. We're streaming live on our Facebook page, Diamond TV Zambia, but also later on this stream is going to be made available for you live also on our YouTube page, that is Diamond TV Zambia. My name is Andrew Mwanza.
My name is Ches Wakapasa. Like always, we encourage you to be part of the conversation this evening. We'll be opening our phone lines as we feature our guest this evening. We look into issues around democracy, the rule of law, but we also touch on issues around the economy. And so we'd like you to be a part of the conversation this evening. We'd like to start the show with Today in a Snap.
Well, dramatic events that happened at the city airport premises when Dr. Chimba Kambwili was being evacuated from Northern Province into Lusaka. And obviously we did see what characterized that particular, evacuation at the city airport. Present there were different, colleagues from the media, but also politicians from the Patriotic Front and those from government. Part of the key people that were there from government is P.S. Taukawana. And, well, getting to lecture the Patriotic Front on mannerisms, he blatantly told, the PF Secretary General, that's the PF CEO, and the PF Chairman in charge of information, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba, to behave themselves. Well, according to him, everywhere where the two go, there's confusion. It was a dramatic, press briefing that they called for. And obviously, when this happened, the idea was Mr. Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba, together with PF Vice President Given Winda and the Secretary General Rofo Nakochinda, were claiming that they were refused into the premises, of the city airport, and so they called for the intervention of the PS information, that is Mr. Tabokawana, to explain to him that, look, government has stopped us from entering, into these premises. We don't know why.
Well, what's funny is that he also talks about how come there's others that have been allowed? Why should you be I think that's one of the things that we equally, I'm equally trying to understand. How two individuals will be left off at least, to get access to that. But I think it's important to get a context of what Emmanuel Mwamba was trying to say, and also perhaps we can hear what the PS was trying to justify, that was a lie, that was not the current situation. But let's hear what transpired in that video.
Just giving an update about the arrival of Honorable Chimba Kambwili. But we have an issue. The three of us, led by the PF Vice President, Honorable Given Luvinda, and our Secretary General, Honorable Raphael Nakachinda, were refused entry. We're told that government authorities, we don't know which government authorities, had given strict instructions, especially that Honorable Given Luvinda, Honorable Honorable Nakachinda and myself should not be allowed in. We had the privilege where some of our MPs, led by Honorable Brian Mundu, were allowed in. So we have just seen our dear brother, the Permanent Secretary of Information and Media, Tabo Kawani, and he speaks for government. So I want to understand how government could refuse
where these cultures come from.
Yeah, could refuse the vice president of the party, where Honorable Chimba Kambwili is a member of the Central Committee. could be refused entry. And Tawakawana, thank you very much just for this brief interview. I don't know what the position is. I don't know why they stopped us.
Thank you very much. I just want to state very clearly the government has no such condition, no intention of stopping anyone from having come to receive Honorable Kambwili. And I stand here, your council, Honorable here can bear me witness, Honorable Mundubile can bear me witness, the rest of the members of parliament can bear me witness. There is no such a thing. But you know, Ambassador Mwambara, so what he's saying here is not correct. There's no such a thing.
No, let's not joke.
I'm not joking. Me, I'm telling you the truth, guys.
So the Vice President,
no one has said to stop anybody from anywhere.
Honorable Mundubile is here. He wants to make me an issue. Please come here. Maybe Tabo wants to make me an issue.
You say you're busy catching my problem. Bangena Branch won't serve. Bangena Branch, why you?
Why was the Vice President refused?
Put it on record as government we have refused. It's not correct.
The only reason we put him on camera was that we needed him to also expose his arrogance.
Yes,
but the truth of the matter is that we were stopped from entering, and it
but
can never
why
be
you?
anything
Why
else.
you? Honorable Mundubile is coming from there. Honorable Kapianga is coming from there. All these MPs are coming from there. But why just?
So most of
why
at
do you
least-
attract this disorderly conduct? Furious. Why? Check yourselves. There's a problem the way you conduct yourself.
So the new culture.
That's why there is no culture. There's no culture. Then mannerisms. No, you can't. Every time you go somewhere, you remember another one. How come all your friends are inside? There's no issue. They have come out. There's no issue.
Actually,
You have given instructions. The officers
No
have told
one has
us.
given instructions.
We can give you the officer who gave us instructions.
there's no such a
who gave the instructions
There is no
that
such a thing.
you have, as government, listed myself, Honorable Nakachinda, and Honorable Lubinda not to be allowed. I don't think Honorable Lubinda was right. I don't think you were right.
but-
In fact, we were very courteous and we waited.
There's no such thing.
But as usual,
Yeah,
it's
there's
a
no
lie.
such thing.
Those
Yes.
are some of the
It's a
things.
lie, yes.
It's a lie.
This is what
There's
some
no
of
such
the things we are going to come and correct when we get.
Yes. No, you are free to come and correct this.
Thanks very much.
I promise
Thank
you guys.
for the courtesy to
Yes,
stop.
yes.
But stop.
You Oh my goodness, you must love Tabo.
So the PS beat the PF to their own game.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I thought that the PF was supposed to capitalize on the fact that
he was alone there.
The PS was on camera.
There was SG there. There was. Oh my goodness. Wow.
The PS always says, I mean, we've asked him several times, and there's certain people that have always described him as being a cadre and not a civil servant. He says
I think for me,
he comes from a school of cadres. and where the government has and the fact that the president has appointed him,
yeah,
he still remains a cadre. And he says everyone else is a cadre, and he remains a cadre even if he's a PS. But I think, well, if indeed that the three individuals were refused, I think that's unfortunate. But according to the PS, it seems that he argues otherwise.
I've never seen SG Rafa Nakachinda's so humble and quiet like that. Emmanuel Wamba is quite vocal, but in front of Tawakawa, and I think the both of them, I was looking at the video. On the other side, Honorable Brand Munir was just looking at whatever was happening, and he didn't want to participate. But I think you rightly put it that Tawakawa beat them at their own game. They called for a press briefing and ended up being the starring at their press briefing. But, well, that is PS Tawakawa for you, trying to put the PF in their position and telling them to learn mannerisms. But coming up on the program tonight, we'll be getting the perspective of the leadership movement on their position over the judiciary, the judicial system of this country, but also looking at the forthcoming by-elections that the leadership movement is going to be participating in. But also we find out from them, did they participate in the just recently held National Day of Prayer, Fasting and Reconciliation. We're going to be speaking to party president in Dr. Richard Silumbe right after the short messages. Well, thank you so much for still staying with us. You can be a part of the program by calling us on the number that is on your screen, but also you can take advantage of our social media platform, that is Diamond TV Online, to be able to write your comments and contributions regarding the topics that we have on the table tonight. Tonight, we're privileged to be joined in by Leadership Movement President, Dr. Richard Silumbe. Doc, good evening. Thank you so much for making time to speak to the Zambians tonight on Diamond Live.
Well, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity once again to be on Diamond Live.
We'd like to start, Mr. President, with the National Day of Prayer and Fasting. The President, we did see him attend those prayers in Ndola. We'd like to find out what you think about this day. In the previous, rather say, I would say, recent times, we've had a lot of issues around this day, National Day of Prayer and Fasting. Others have really described this day as not important, while others feel that, yes, indeed, this day is important. What does the leadership movement think about this day, and did you take part in the National Day of Prayer?
Well, first of all, as leadership movement, we think that some of these semantics that are put in politics so that people can be consumed with things that don't even make sense, that do not put food on the table, but just mere politicking. We cannot take a day of prayer as something significant, as something that we can discuss in this country as an issue, because every day is a day of prayer. When you wake up in the morning, you need to give thanks to your Creator. So there is nothing about a special day of prayers. So that doesn't make sense to us as leadership movement. We believe that every person has got to answer to his Creator at any time, anywhere. There is nothing like, no, you didn't participate in a day of prayer and all that. These are just mere rhetorics aiming at politicizing the providential powers. In this case, we are politicizing Jehovah God, the Creator, whom we should not even be putting in politics. So at this time, as leadership movement, we have no obligation to respect any day as a day of prayer, because we know that each and every day is a day of prayer, and we do that in privacy. We don't come on the media and say, oh, today we are observing a day of prayer, because we believe that what is more important at this time, the most important issue is the issue of production. People are suffering. There is poverty everywhere. We cannot have a government that hides in a day of prayer, for instance, or an opposition that tries to blindfold the people that when you attend a day of prayer, then somehow manna will fall from heaven. That does not work. And we expect the UPND government to start working. And it is already time overdue. I mean, we expected them to do a lot of things 3 years down the line. Now they are a total failure. We are seeing nothing on the ground, and people are angry. They are really angry. They expect a government to pull up its socks.
That's a strong opinion that you've put up, especially that the majority of the Zambians who are Christians respect this day. Even those that don't participate respect this day. Don't you think that is political suicide for you as a political party president, to discredit the day that people ought to come together and pray for the nation?
We as leadership movement believe that we are a Christian nation as a country, and therefore, if we are a Christian nation, we respect each and every day of prayer. So we cannot say that this particular day of prayer is the only day that we need to respect, and it has to be significant as such. So in our case, even if we don't attend that day of prayer, it doesn't matter to us, because the following day we are observing our Creator, and we are paying homage to our Creator, and we respect God because He's our Creator. So there is nothing new about that. Just like Christmas. If you tell me, you come here and say you didn't celebrate Christmas, so it means that the Zambian people are going to get angry with you. Who talks about that? We have a lot of days in the Christian religion that should be respected, and those days you can either celebrate them or you cannot. Others pray on Saturday, others pray on Sunday, others pray each and every day on their special day. So there is nothing you can tell the Zambian people that this day must be respected and it has a certain significance. Every day is significant when it comes to Jehovah and when it comes to prayers. That's how we believe as leadership.
What are you telling to the senior men of God in this country who observe this day, who ensure that this country, they pray for this country on this day of the 18th of October annually? Are you telling them that they are ignorant, they don't know what they're doing, and whatever they're doing is motivated by politics, really, Dr. Silumbe?
The politics comes in when we are discussing a day of prayer like this. This is why I'm saying we are politicizing a day of prayer. Imagine, why don't we discuss the issue of Christmas? If I didn't celebrate Christmas, you celebrated, is it an issue? Are you going to say, oh, Dr. Silumbe, you didn't celebrate Christmas, you are not there, therefore it's an issue? How are the Zambian people going to look at you? That cannot happen. Same applies to the people who are going to church on Saturday. We cannot say because these people are going to church on Saturday, therefore us, we are not respecting Saturday, and we have a certain opinion on those people who are respecting that. We have no opinion on anybody. You can go on Sunday, you can go on Saturday, you can go on prayers day as a nation, others may not.
Maybe make
this
it clear.
Is why
make it clear.
When you say that this day of prayer has got significance, do you know what percentage of the Zambian population and the Christianity that believe that this day is just like any other day? There are so many. They may not have the privilege to come on this podium, but I'll speak for them. This is why I'm telling you that as leadership movement, we cannot respect one day as a day of prayer. And we believe that this is not of any significance in the political system.
Are you saying it's useless?
I'm saying it has no significance.
Is it useless?
I'm not saying it's useless. Something useless and something insignificant, these are two different things. Because why we are saying it's not significant to us, because others, it may be significant. If we say it's useless, it means that we have a certain low opinion or a bad opinion on those people who respect that. So
tell me what you're telling Dr. Silumbe.
We believe that it has no significance on our side.
Yes.
As leadership movement, and we believe that every day of prayer is very significant, and anybody, we cannot politicize.
What are you telling to your thousands? What are you telling tonight to your thousands of followers who are Christians, Dr. Silumbe, tonight across the country, who believe that perhaps maybe when you win elections, this day is going to be maintained? Can you make it clear to the nation tonight? Are you going to maintain the National Day of Prayer when you win elections, either in 2026 or future elections?
Let me categorically say that everything that has been categorized by the country, for instance, we are a Christian nation. There is no way you come into power and say we shouldn't be a Christian nation. We are going to maintain that. A day of prayer, it is significant to others. We are going to maintain it.
Will you be participating as president?
As president, I can either participate or not.
Will you be
I am at
participating as
liberty.
president?
I'm not going to give you guarantee that I'll be participating on that day of prayer every day.
From 2015, you've never participated in this day.
That doesn't matter. I've said that it's not significant to us. If you ask me if I go to church, I go to church. Am I a Christian? I am a Christian. That is of great importance than a day of prayer that you are talking about. This is why I'm saying you are politicizing a day of prayer for some reason, but to me and to the leadership movement, we believe that this is just a day like any other. So the same way we are not going to ban a Christmas day where others celebrate Christmas, others don't. In the same vein, we cannot stop people from observing a day of prayer because others feel that it's significant. So and this is a country we coexist. In short, people have got we have different ways of understanding things, but to impose on somebody, that is what we are against.
This day is respected. This day will still be respected. As
Definitely, we respect it.
Let's move to some of the critical issues that have happened this week. We did see President Hakainde Hichilema remove 3 Constitutional Court judges. Again, this is a very thorny subject in as far as the independence of the judiciary is concerned. Earlier today, we have seen stakeholders calling for the independence of the JCC, the Judicial Competence Commission. In your own view, what do you make of these systems under the judiciary? What do you make of this development of the president having to sack these 3 judges? What do you make of this development?
Again, as leadership movement, we believe that the executive and the judiciary, the executive appoints the judiciary, and with a certain immunity that is given to the judiciary to exercise their powers, so that we have checks and balances, so that we have 3 arms of government, and that has been the tradition. So if you want to ask the leadership movement's opinion on the UPND's removal of an officer in the government where millions of people voted for them so that they can preside over the government, as leadership movement, we are going to point to the past. What are we learning from the past? Is that Kenneth Kaunda removed some judges, Frederick Chiluba did that, Michael Sata did that, the previous government also did that to some extent. They even made other judges. So according to where we are coming from, as leadership movement, we believe that, again, even as much as we think that the rule of law exists, but all that is in the hands of government. So the president, as I believe, that he has the power to remove a judge after recommendations from
The JCC.
the JCC.
Should this commission be independent? And how so would you like it to be independent?
We expect, as leadership movement, the judiciary to be independent, and we expect them to work with government and to be able to exercise their justice in accordance with what the rule of law expects. But what do we see from these judges? Let me just talk about this thing, because every government that has come before, they have manipulated judges. They have used their long hands, hidden hands, to actually politicize the judiciary, hound out the opposition, give them cases, and the UPND, as an opposition political party, it suffered the same. So these are the things that we are seeing. The UPND now, they are manipulating the justice system. They are reorganizing it. And what we are talking about as leadership movement...
That is a very serious allegation to claim
we understand that
the UPND is trying to manipulate the justice
system. Listen, whilst they have the power to remove, when you ask me, does the president have the power to remove a judge? Through whatever mechanizations, they do that. But you ask me a right question. Does the leadership movement believe that the UPND is doing this in good faith? Then I'm going to answer to that. They are certainly not doing it in good faith. Whilst they do have the power to remove any judge according to their to the specifications of the Constitution, but are they doing it in good faith? There I have an answer to you, and that is categoric no. The reason they are removing those judges, we know. We all know.
Well, we don't know.
We all know that.
What is it that
I know? For instance, the reason has been put clearly.
What is the reason?
The reason is that those people did not preside over the affairs of an appeal in the 2016 elections in a fair situation on the part of the UPND.
Well, but
that is the allegation.
The allegation, that's not the allegation, President Silumbe. The allegation is that the 3 judges are not qualified to sit on the bench. They don't have courses in constitutional law and human rights. Those are the charges
before Special education in human rights.
Yes, those are the charges before the Judicial Competence Commission, and so they have been removed on the pretext that, in the first place, they're not qualified to sit on the bench.
That again, we know the motive behind. Haven't you ever wondered why all those judges, those are the people who actually voted against the appeal in the time of the UPN when it was in opposition? Why is it that only those people who did that, and now they are found wanting on the issue of a qualification? And those qualifications, to me, as an individual, I feel that that is just a cover-up. That's just a cover-up. But by and large, the government and the UPND government, they have the power to remove those people, and they can do whatever they can do. Just like when we see a minister being removed and we are here politicking, why have they removed the minister? Does that make sense? Doesn't make sense to us. What we are required to do as opposition is to ensure that this government delivers. Is it delivering? Are we seeing the things that they expected, they told the Zambian people to do? Are we seeing them? Those are the issues. We are here to provide checks and balances.
Before you go there, let's still discuss these issues of systems. Yeah. What do you think about the three arms of government? Do you see independence in how the three arms of government are currently operating in our country?
Look at this. There is this assumption that the three arms of government need to be independent. You always talk about, oh, ECZ needs to be independent. How can they be independent? First of all, the head of ECZ is appointed by the government. The Chief Justice is appointed by the government. And all these constitutional judges are appointed by the government.
Through ratification of the legislature.
Definitely, but what independence are you talking about? How does that independence come in? We don't have to be lying to the Zambian people. We need to be telling the Zambian people as it is. Because when we lie that all these arms of government, they are independent, in actual sense, we are seeing the president appointing the Chief Justice. He is actually putting up the constitutional court and the judges there. Then when he starts removing them, we are crying that, oh, he doesn't have powers to do that. He has the powers to do that. But we expect a government to do whatever they are doing in good faith so that Zambian people can actually benefit, so that they can deliver justice. And that is our premises as the opposition. Are we expecting justice? For instance, we need at every point to expect justice from the judiciary.
Dr. Silumbe, how would you realign the three arms of government to ensure that there's definite independence, in how they're, adjudicating over their duties? I'll give you an example of even advanced democracies. The executive gets to, for example, appoint the leaders in the judiciary. How different do you want this system to be? Because even from independence, the system has been like that. The biggest problem we've had, Dr. Silumbe, is that the president has been given so much powers. Are you telling us tonight that when you're elected into office as president, you slash off some of your powers that you're going to have, to not appoint the head of the judiciary, to not appoint the chief electoral officer, to not appoint all these very important institutions that make up the three arms of government?
Let me just clarify what would happen if you give total autonomy to these arms of government. For instance, if you say we want the judiciary to be an autonomous entity that can actually even cripple down the government itself. What if in an unlikely situation that the same judiciary is funded by an external force and they are now pushing an agenda that is against the welfare of the Zambian people? Like we have seen some judges talking about institutionalizing homosexuality, gayism. And if that arm of government funded by foreign entities and it's pushing that, and we have the executive that has got no control over the judiciary and the legislature, how are we going to function as a country? We are going to call on ourselves chaos, and that will be a crisis. So the reason why, to some extent, the president is given those powers is because the Zambian people, they have the power to remove him. The Zambian people have got no power to remove the Chief Justice. The Zambian people have got no power to remove the head of the Electoral Commission, for instance. The Zambian people have got no power to remove any judge.
So you
now,
subscribe this system.
Definitely. Let me tell you how it should work. Now, the government, I mean the Zambian people, have given power to the head of state, whom they can remove if they don't want him. And that power that he has, the head of state, he should be able to exercise it with dignity, with diligence, and to ensure that it benefits the Zambian people. Now, the question is, are we putting in power people who are actually using their powers to the benefit of the Zambian people? That is the question for us tonight. This is why I'm saying, first things first. Is this government that we have given all this power delivering to the Zambian people? Are the Zambian people having cheap meal as a result of putting this government? Are they receiving the justice that they want? Are they receiving the kind of economy that they were promised?
What is the answer?
If the answer is no, as it is now, categorically no, we need to revisit the powers that we have given the government.
Hold your thought right there, Dr. Silumbe.
That is how we should operate.
Let's get to Chongo, Dr. Silumbe, as we speak to Dexter Chizombe. Thank you so much, Dexter, for joining us on Diamond Live tonight. Dexter, Michelo. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Go ahead with your contribution, Dexter.
Yeah, good evening, panel.
Good evening to you.
Thank you. I'm following the conversation. And I want to say it's a very good topic, a very good discussion. I have a challenge with our politician in Zambia. When you articulate issues that pertain governance, which should benefit every citizen, things should be clearly stated that even the person who didn't do law should be able to understand certain things. Now, for example, the issue of the 3 judges. Someone there, the gentleman from leadership movement, I don't know whether it's the president, he's saying the president has powers to appoint and disappoint the judges, and then there are issues that have been raised indicating why those judges have been fired. Now, can he state clearly that he is sure that those reasons are not there? To state clearly, to say those reasons are not there, they are just allegations. The real issue is that they are just being fired because they were against the UPND. At the time there was a petition. And if that is the case, according to the rule of law, him is very clear that this is what happened. Can he petition government so that those misconduct can come to an end? Because for as long as we just speak things from there and then they end after the interview, for us who are listening and following the conversations, we'll be taking it that you're just politicking. So can we see you taking action? Because this is your country as well. So can you take government to book, petition?
Thank you so much for being a part of the program tonight. Dexter Michelo calling us from Chongwe. Mr. President.
Unfortunately, Mr. Dexter, is that we have pressing issues. That is not a priority to me. What I'm fighting for as leadership movement is for us to participate in production. We need to have a country that is productive. We need to participate in mining. That is my advocacy. We need to have ZNS mines. We need to have ZNS state farms. I am not enjoying the poverty that we are seeing now for me to start petitioning the judges whom by law the president can even remove, appoint or disappoint, whatever the allegations. We may have our own opinion that these people, maybe they fought a little bit against the UPND, and this is why they are being removed. But the government has got, the UPND as a government now has got power. They can go and check, they can go fishing for things that would justify their removal. And we have seen them. As he has said that there are other things, other allegations. The biggest allegation was that these people did not preside over that case properly, but other things have been fished out to justify their removal. And they have the power to remove them. What is our interest now is to ensure that Zambian people are able to have 3 meals a day. We need to push government towards production. We are not happy to see foreigners taking over our mines, foreigners taking over our economy, Zambians remaining squatters in their own country. That is our responsibility, and that is our preoccupation, not judges, not these petty politics. This is why Zambians have been dissuaded from knowing the truth. We are busy talking about things that don't even matter. People, officers, in fact, civil servants who come today, gone tomorrow, and we cannot talk about the fertilizer that we were promised that was supposed to be at 250. Now it is 1,000 plus, and we are busy politicking about things that don't even make sense. We need the UPND government to pull up its socks. We need production in this country. We need to see a government that is productive so that people can see the alleviated suffering. We cannot continue toiling in this load shedding that we are seeing today, and people are suffering. We are seeing the skyrocketing of fuel, for instance, and we are busy talking about judges. Who are those judges? Who today we can have UPND judges. Yesterday we had PF judges. In the near future, we are going to have another political party's judges. But what is important, we need to have a government that saves the Zambian people and not saving foreigners, saving personal entities. We need Zambians to participate in their economy. That is the agenda of the leadership movement, not these petty agendas, agendas that don't even make sense, agendas of the prayers, day of prayers and all these things that don't even give us what we expect as a people.
Hold your thought right there, Dr. Silumbe. We've got another caller on the line tonight. Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on Diamond Live tonight. Go ahead with your contribution or question.
Evening.
Evening to you, sir.
The topic is quite helpful. The platform is available for anybody, like our gentleman on the show. Now, the question is, since he seemed to be so maybe spirited to help us, the Zambians, what is stopping him from investing in the mining, since the platform is available for all the Zambians? Maybe if he can start by maybe investing in the mining, because the core has been made for everybody to invest. Why is he not taking up that opportunity?
To invest in the mining? What is the point?
Hello?
You're asking him to invest in the mining
I'm saying what is stopping them from investing into maybe the mining sector, for example? Unlike just putting up the political rhetoric. Why not invest? Because the platform is open for every Zambian.
All right. I don't know if you got the question quite.
Yes, I got the question, Mr. Chenda. Mr. Chenda, you need to understand the big picture. The reason why Zambian people cannot participate effectively in the mining, this is why we have very few players in the mining sector. You have effectively given up the mining sector to foreigners because you are operating on colonial laws. We had a time when we were colonized. Before 1890, we used to do mining. This is why your grandfathers, your great-grandfathers used to get stones that are rich in iron, they smelt them, out of which they make axes for cutting trees, for doing chtemene. They make, out of that iron, they make hoes for cultivation. Kafulafuta and Bwana Mkubwa, we used to do that. We used to take stones that are rich in copper, we smelt them, we make copper bangles, copper plates, until 1890 when the BSA company came, and through Rokna concession, they were given mining rights. They started mining in the copper belt, and they banned all mining with the indigenous Zambians. Those people then, they were banned from mining. They said every metal that you are using should be made in Britain. And from that time, that is why we are talking about this issue of illegal miners. We are talking about illegal mining. When we got independent, we were supposed to revisit those laws so that Zambians can own land with title deeds. And when you have a title, that is the only license you should have. So much that when you have minerals on your land, and you have a title deed, you can do mining. Now look at all those cooperatives we are talking about. We are giving people licenses to cooperatives that don't even have land where to find the minerals. And they can't even have access to minerals. And you are saying, oh, the mining sector has been open to the Zambian people. We want every Zambian that has a piece of land to be given title deeds. And once we give them title deeds, that is the beginning of empowerment. It means that somebody who wants to venture into mining, he would get into mining. Somebody who wants to venture into agriculture, with a title deed, they'll be able to open up and access resources and be able to invest on that land and be productive. That is where production starts from. Every country that has developed, it's because its government has empowered its people, not this so-called blindfolded empowerment you are talking about. I've seen a lot of young people who have licenses, and they are UPND cadres, and they call me and they tell me, oh, we have a license, but there's nothing we can do. They don't have land, they don't have title deeds, they don't have anything. And you are saying we have empowered people in mining. We need to have a government that participates in mining, that is able to open an avenue. There are people, for instance, young people who have access to land, even though they have no title deeds. They are able to dig manganese in Mkushi, for instance. These young people, they dig manganese. That manganese, they can only sell to Chinese nearby who are doing mining in manganese. Per ton, they are selling 50 kwacha per ton. These are young people who are digging manganese with picks and shovels, and yet they can't sell anywhere. They can only sell to Chinese because the government has folded its hands. It has no reserve for manganese, no reserve for copper. They can't even have 1 kg of copper in reserves. No reserve for gold, no reserve for cobalt. This is why, as a leadership movement, we want to have the Mineral Reserve Agency, just like the way we have FRA. Because with FRA, you see a farmer, a poor farmer, can produce 100 bags of maize, and you go to FRA, and they will sell. No one will ask them whether they have a license for farming or anything. They will just simply buy, and we have reserves of maize and all these other products, such as soybeans. This is the very thing that we want to see in the mining sector. We don't want those young Zambians, those Jerabos in the copper belt. They can produce copper. They can dig copper, a sack of copper, and they will be just swindled. They will be given 100 kwacha by the Chinese. And those people, when they will sell and make a lot of money. Imagine 1 ton of manganese, you sell at 50 kwacha to a Chinese, and that Chinese will sell that 1 ton at $2,500 US, and make more profit. We have given the mining sector to foreigners. We want a change of mindset, a change of system where we have the Mineral Reserve Agency, and the government can get minerals from Zambians. They can sell to the Mineral Reserve Agency, and they can earn a living. And that Mineral Reserve Agency is going to have reserves. We are not going to have a president who moves around begging, empty-handed. He can't even sell 100 grams of copper. We want a president who goes out there talking about millions of metric tons of copper he's selling to the country, to China, to UK, and in exchange for that, he's getting other services. not where you are always beggars. You have nothing to offer to the world. We need to start offering something by allowing the Zambian people, empowering them, and we can get access to their minerals, and with that reserve, we can do something as a country.
It's good you're speaking about the copper mining, the mining sector in the country. Just in the next 3 days, Doc will be celebrating 60 years of our independence as a country. And I'd like to pick your thoughts on the impact that the mining industry has had on our economy, and whether you think we are getting a good deal out of the mining sector. We are the second largest producer of copper on the African continent, about the third in the world. Are we getting a good deal out of our mineral resources?
We have a government that has resigned from the mining sector. It has given up on all its natural resources, and it's all over, not knowing where it is coming from and where it is going. These are the problems that we have today. We had a government before. We had our founding fathers who fought for independence, and they set up all these mining systems, and we could benefit from the copper mines. We could benefit from these other minerals. We expected to continue from that. What did we do along the way? We had governments who are sellout governments who handed over every resource, every natural resource that we had. When the European and other worlds, they were talking about privatization. They did privatization in the right way. What did we do? After 1990, we went on to privatize in a wrong way. Privatization could have worked if we were giving our mining sector to the Zambian people.
Just hold your thought.
And not foreigners. But what did we do? We gave everything to foreigners.
Just hold your thought on privatization. There we've got Frida Ngosa calling us. Frida Ngosa, thank you so much for making time to join us on Diamond Live, calling us from the Copper Bot in Kitwe.
Tasikwete sana wait. Tabare tulandirako. Ukulanda kwa opposition. Bafuye bale tulangira kwefire kitika. Notice yo balelanda. Tabalelanda bwino. Bafuye bale supporta kufwe bena Zambia fwe bale chula. We are Zambians who are suffering. Bafuye balanda kupa mitengo ya bunga, imitengo ya saladi, na abalumendo abale from my illegal mines. Ifi na fuwe we ali dula, tule chula. Abantu bale bakansa mu street umo bafuire bale shitisha bale mwena mwaka kulya cyose cyo tabareranda po baranda fe palirandi bale rande fire chusha abantu bale tupokololako noti bale randa kwati nabo bali mu ruling party tabareranda bwino
twatotera bangosana nabo mfwa. Mr. President,
I think let me handle this. I think bango sefe mulelanda chabulanda sana pantu imwe nimova mayo imwe mwalikwata n'abana then mulelanda tatulemelandirako tulelanda pali fyo na idula mulefu amukonkanyepo muleshitishafe abana benu abobo mukwete bakakula bakesaluka abakulu abana bako bati bafire bakwata apa kuikala lelo nishimo mwalila bakofe pantu muikala mukanganda akakusonkela tamule monamo ubunonshi muri landi yakwati mwakwata apo mulela ndali mwalifumana kumushi pantu mwaishi batawe ilandi tapabe fya abapo instead ya kwata interest ya kupoka title deed mulefu afe mule ikalafe mule panga fe fitumbua no kula ikalafe uko abulo kutontonganya pali future y'abana beno ife tureresha pali future y'abana beno abo bakwati nga bakula bakwata mu bunonshi muli chichalo imwapo muli bena Zambia na mkwata na NRC lelo muisa ngaisa lelo aisa shitalandi plot yapo bamifunyi yapo ngefire chitika kuba neno obotulelandirako mukashala fe pambiribiri muli ma squatters muchalo cheno ifye fintu mufire mule tontonkanyapo abo mulela ndati illegal mining abantu balefwa usheimwe ba roda tamwa ipushapo kwebati why is it that abena Zambia byonse nga balepita munani kali mumisebo mule ba accident abantu mwanina likilibasi yayapunka muli track abantu 80 bafwa tatwatala umfapo ba minister baisoko batawe lekeni ukwenda mu misebo eshaipa y'abantu every day abantu 5 balefa mu misebo lero tatwa umfapo atawe isaleni misebo eshi no mbayimwe mulefu amule support abantu government ile amukuchingirira abantu ati baleke okuimba kopa pantu umuntu umwafa nangula babiri lero mu pani nangula mu KCM abantu nga wafa 40 tabalanda pono kulanda pa media balaikala fezi pantu niba muisa ebe ne bailya mine ebe ne ba mugode ulya nombabe na Zambia abantu banenu abalefu okubati bakwata molu bali mumukuba imo mule support ati hao bale bakanya pantu abantu balefwa sana ifyote tusuminishe pamonga ba leadership movement turefu abena Zambia bakwata molu bale mumukuba wabo olo efefe akulanda ati ba illegal miner tai ba illegal miner yo takwabo omuntu winga ba illegal miner mwina Zambia uyu mukuba weso lelo abantu uteko ufire bule bafuirisha ko kuishwe fya kusunga ifya kusunga emyebo shawo ngabale chita mining balanda pali safety ngafine tumfa baratsa balanda pali safety turefwala ma belt ovo tufire ture eba na abantu aleimba umukubo ko bati awe mwebe kala chalo ngana mutemwa ukuitumpa mukuba mufire mwalatsa fe observe ama safety measures not ukwa mukwisala ma mine na ngulo kula ikatabe na Zambia tibale ko kuimba mine if you take to sumini say
the leadership movement has these ideals and ideologies of owning land and massive production. Perhaps people like Frida are still trying to resonate and understand your vision. Have people begun to understand this vision that you carry of the leadership movement?
Leke ichina la chipashanya kuli independence. Ilo tuwale luisho obuntungwa. Ma 1930s, early 1930s. Ba Godwin mbikustale wanika balandiro kweba tawe tufire twala iteka lero abena Zambia punchtide abayishibyo ko bati umwina Zambia wafita tete ateke chalo iyo. That's why Charlie shupiro kusenda obuntungwa. Imagine from 1930 to 1964 it took 34 years to get independence. Pantu ilo bale pitana nangula bena hali mwanga nkombula bale kampena abantu bale anfatawe abandi bamukukuru ifo muntu wesu inga tuteka fe ni musungu. That's why ishi nali abusungu dia bakwati muina lesa nangulo muntu wapalwa. That's why fyako nkenyepo for a long time lero abena hali mwanga nkombula na bena Godwin mbikustale wanika na bena Kenneth Kaunda tabale kere nangula ukuchita give up kwanda tawe abantu tabale umfa bali konkenyepo until abana bambo kulabale ichita understand until 1964 abena Zambia bamu 1964 baisa monoko bati awe ifinto bamuisa bale senda finto fiesu tuapoka no buntungwa. It took 34 years. That's why nangu pali inoshta ngatulanda pali land abena Zambia bantu abafumine mu busha bafuma mu colonialism abena Kenneth Kaunda tabaikete ku empowerment abena Zambia oyo ba leadership movement refo kuchita ukikatako pantu nangulo omuntu pakubati abo munoshi ibalela ndei nani kane tulanda pali umutengo wabunga nomba abantu nga bali kalafe mu Lusaka omuntu alikala aliku mazabuka alikwata enchende 10 hectares lero takwata title takwata napa kumo okubokuta bamumpera title bakapera fe title kuli muisanga isa ashitaire mpanga uyu muntu tulanda tumuchushi takwata pa kumo okuboko alero ya CDF na FISIP akesa senda fe medaimo akesa alimafya panono ili 10 hectares yonse ikashalafe lero ifo pamonga ba leadership movement na twishoko ati uli muntu nga twaisa mpera title aisa kwata ndatule pera FISIP twamona nofu akwete umuntu akwete 10 hectares alifu apa fertilizer ili 100 twampera ala lima yonse 10 hectares muno mcharota mwabe poverty nomba pali inoshita ba farmer tabakwata pa kumoko tabakwata mataito tabakwata efirifyonse ifyefirele ngobu chushi.
Hold your thought right there.
Just this point olo chalunda pono kukwata ubuteko bunamwelepete ubutawakwata ma state farms ifo pamonga ba leadership movement twera nokwati nga twaisa mu buteko tulefa twakwata ma state farms monse mu district pakwati umuntu abantu bakwate nchito abena Zambia na Angola ama street kids abantu abaleika lafita bakwate apa kwa kubomba tule umfuira tawe kanofena kwata grade 12 certificate tulefo mwina Zambia wose whether walisambira na mtawasambira wayabomba mu state farm nga na ukwata makatuwa ikata piki na shave kuti walima no kulima tuwakwata na ma state farms most ma district tuwakwata just this point tuwakwata na migodi under ZNS. That's why twinga mona development nisha abantu bakwata molubali not if today mona to supporta if into kwati government ibana mwelepete if into pali fire chitika nombo bunga bwala bwera shani tatuko tina ZNS.
Want to hear from Zambians from across the country. Now we get to Mulobezi. Thank you so much, Mr. Wezi Piri from Mulobezi. Go ahead with your contribution or question.
Good evening, Mr. Mwasa.
Good evening to you, sir.
Yes, I just wanted to contribute where the doc mentioned about having a national reserve of certain minerals. I think that's very important that we get to have a reserve for those minerals. It's going to help us in the future. And also, if the government cannot create a reserve, the other alternative is let the government be able to regulate the pricing of these minerals locally. Like when these local miners, they mine these minerals, they want to sell maybe to the Chinese or whoever wants to buy, let them be there to regulate the prices or to put a price to say, this mineral with this percentage, you can sell so much per ton, or these people should be able to buy at this price. Because when you look, these foreigners are exploiting our local people. They're exploiting our local people. They even be able to buy their minerals as low as 50 kwacha per ton. So I think we can do better in that area if the government can come in and help our local people. That was my contribution.
Thank you so much, sir, for calling us. We've got someone from Mulobezi. Your reaction?
So those are just a few Zambians who can understand and conceptualize what we need as a country. But because we have so many millions who don't even know why they exist, even why they are suffering, that's why we feel a politician who can print 20 million chitenge materials and 20 million t-shirts and 50 kwacha and distribute to the whole country and they get votes. And we are where we are today because of that mentality. That's why as leadership movement, we want to work hard, tirelessly. And we know that this is not an easy thing. It's not an easy task, but we want to re-educate the masses. Zambians need to know. They need to know what is their wealth. For as long as Zambians don't know their wealth, the way we heard that caller saying, you are just talking about land. She doesn't even know that land is the #1 wealth for this country. She feels that land can belong to anybody and she'll be continuing moving around from one place to another as a squatter. For a Zambia to develop, we need Zambians who own their land. That's #1. #2, we need to be productive. We need to own our wealth, our minerals, and we need to participate in that. If we don't, then we are doomed as a country. But Zambians will not understand this. We need to continuously re-educate the Zambian people so they can understand.
And to participating, because one of the reasons in the 90s for privatization of a mining sector was was for the Zambians to own and participate in the running of these mines. And we've seen that happen.
The reason for privatization was as a result of sanctions. The UNIP government suffered sanctions. By the 1990s, we could not export much of the minerals. Copper prices coming from Zambia, the price was lowered deliberately, because Kenneth Kaunda was fighting for independence. He was helping Namibia, he was helping Zimbabwe to gain independence, and South Africa was against that, and he was helping South Africa. And as a result of that, we suffered because of sanctions. And because of that, the European, the former colonial master, took advantage of this country. They sponsored sellout opposition political party, and they were given a lot of money, and we bought into that. And they said when they come, they are going to liberalize the economy. They are going to sell this economy they are going to privatize this economy. And privatization in itself would have worked if we gave all the resources, all the mines to the Zambian people, if they were able to own them. And we have seen that in other countries. That was going to be successful because the profits would have been in this country. The only thing that I saw that worked on privatization was the issue of selling houses. When Frederick Chiluba sold houses to the Zambian people, that was empowerment. That was giving them, in actual sense, a livelihood and title deeds. That land, house selling was the single most success, because if they did not sell those houses, by today would be renting to the Chinese. The Okawata would have been owned by some foreigner in the UK, and you are renting to them. And that is what empowerment is supposed to be. We were supposed to privatize the mines, the KGP and all these companies to the Zambian people, but we chose to give them to foreigners. And this is why we are here, and this is why we are suffering, because the so-called employment, where people are just being paid one pin, that is not empowerment. All the profits are going out. You sell all these things and you don't benefit as a country.
Dr. Richard Silumbe, thank you so much for making time. Cheswa, I love the eloquence of the Bemba in Dr. Richard Silumbe and how he was able to articulate in the local language. But thank you so much for
we wish
being
the
a part.
best in the upcoming elections.
Thank you very much.
Indeed. We've come to the end of the program. Our guest has been Leadership Movement President, Dr. Richard Silumbe. On behalf of the entire production crew, thank you so much for watching. My name is Andrew Mwanza.
We'll see you again on Friday. Good night.